Now 8:20 in the evening on the 4th of April, 2025. Ooh, it doesn't look like my laptop is charging. I better go ahead and check the power. Okay, anyway, what you're seeing here is Messier 81. We have a half moon tonight pretty much, so we're not going to get particularly good views, but I do want to tour around a bit, maybe recap some of the rounders. This is a future rounder as an NGC, but right now it's just Messier 81. What we're going to do is do a little zoom in on it. I got to figure out why it is that I am not charging this laptop. Anyway, here we go. Maybe a little overexposed and pixelated here, so I'll drop out. Typically I can operate it up to 100%. You can see the extension of the galaxy there, but because we have a moon, the sky is a little brighter than it should be, even though this is to the north and maybe some 60 degrees from the half moon. So there is our start on the evening. And here we go with our pre-sky dark view of Messier 82. Both of them are Bode's galaxy. They should fit in the same field. I'm operating through the El Quattro 150. There is 81 and 82. I'm framing them both in the field of view. We're operating at 50%, which means probably at about 100x. If we assume 20% is 50, 2.5 times that, 100x. I really love the way you can see the texture in the more edgy on Messier 82. Spiral arms usually do come out, but like I said, we're dealing with the fact that we do have the moon in the sky like half of a pizza pie. Well, in Italy they call that a more. Our next eye-fetching view, let's hop over to NGC 1501, the Blue Oyster Nebula. It's in Camelopard, Dallas. It's at 4 hours, 6 minutes, 59.4 seconds with a northerly declination of 60 degrees, 55 and 15. And since we will probably try to go after some of the other circumpolars, the rounders as I call them this evening, I thought we'd start with this one. Visual magnitude 11.9. Its size is less than an arc minute, 56 by 48 arc seconds, with a position angle of 98 degrees. A little hard to tell because it is so spherical in shape. Planetary nebula, right ascension, 4 hours, 56 minutes, as I mentioned. It has a blue-violet magnitude of 13.3 and a visual 11.5, which tells you that this star is not pumping out much in the ultraviolet range. It is, in fact, its central star, an aging star on its way out. I thought we might go ahead and do a little bit more of a zoom on it. There's our view. You can see the central star. I was hoping we would be able to have noted the central star on these notes, but that is not the case. Maybe I'll do some research tomorrow. So, because the sky transparency is pretty decent, why don't we go after the rounder series? Bootstrapping off of NGC 2268, the last galaxy that I was able to image reasonably well. NGC 2268's in Camelopard, Dallas, hour 7, 14 minutes, 17.6 seconds. Pretty far north, 84 degrees, 22 minutes, 57 seconds. Its visual magnitude, as you can tell, is quite bright, magnitude 11.5, fairly large, 3.2 by 2 arc minutes, so oblately presented, with an average surface brightness of 13.4, and that position angle you are looking at is 63 degrees. Stephen Gottlieb said through a 17.5-inch telescope done back in a view done back in August 27th of 1987, that it was fairly bright, fairly large, elongated southwest and northeast with a bright core and faint stellar nucleus. I would say that stellar nucleus is quite bright. We are, despite the moon, getting views tonight of roughly a 20-inch telescope. What we have here is the next in the rounder series. It's located right there. We might be able to push the magnification up a little bit. Starting to pixelate, so I'll back out. Usually 100% works quite well. That's about 250x. This is the first. This is number 86 in the rounder series. Printed it all out. NGC2273. It's in links. It's at 6 hours, 50 minutes, and 8.6 seconds, plus 60 degrees, 50 minutes, and 45 seconds. Visual magnitude. It says 11.7. That doesn't seem to be quite as bright, but it does have a larger core region. Size 3.2 by 2.5 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13.8 and a position angle of 50 degrees. Through a 17.5-inch telescope, Steve Gottlieb said on January 20 of 1990, fairly bright, moderately large, oval, southwest to northeast, with a very bright core and a stellar nucleus. Yes, we can see that it's got a bright core, but we're not making out much in the way of the faintness around it, except for pixelations. So that's our view. Okay, here we are having a view of NGC 2300. It is located in Cepheus, 7 hours, 32 minutes, 20 seconds, plus 85 degrees, 42 minutes, and 32 seconds. Brightest galaxy yet, magnitude 11.1. A little bit smaller for that magnitude, 2.8 by 2 arc minutes. Surface brightness is 12.8 with a position angle of 80 degrees. Now, one thing I am noticing, there is something very large and faint up here, but this is where our studies have been appearing, so that I would assume is 2300. Through an 18-inch telescope done on August 2nd of 2011, Steve describes it as bright, moderately large, slightly elongated, 1.5 by 1.3 arc minutes in diameter, sharply concentrated with a very bright core that increases steadily to the center. It certainly does that. Halo fades out, increases with averted vision. You can actually practice that on the screen, except for the whiteness of the borders. Forms a striking pair with NGC 2276, just 6 degrees, 6 minutes to the northwest. NGC 2300 and 2276, which we already noticed, and it looks quite faint and brighter now, forms a striking pair. 2300 and 2276 are the brightest in a group of galaxies near the 85th declination, which includes IC 455, 469, 512, UGC 3654, 3670, 4078, and 4348, plus others. So you can look on the screen and see if you can pick out a few of those studies for yourself. Okay, we're waiting on a revelation of NGC 2303. I may have to adjust the histogram slightly because it looks quite pixelated. Oh, right there. Right there. Push these sliders around. Okay, well, I'm not really seeing much of anything on the screen. There is a faint galaxy right there, I do believe. But let me give you the data so we have a sense of this, whether or not it could be the case. NGC 2303, it's at 6 hours, 56 minutes, 17.5 seconds. 45 degrees, 2934 north. I did shift the scope out a little further onto the concrete pattern of the awning, so we should be capturing most of it, if not all. Visual magnitude 12.6, 1.5 by 1.5 face-on galaxy with an average surface brightness of 13.5 through a 17.5 inch telescope on February 8th, 1991. Steve says fairly faint, very small, round, small, bright core with a stellar nucleus. I do believe that's what we're seeing. However, there are other galaxies to be seen on the screen. However, we are looking more towards the central region. I'm over here dealing with a number of the hand controller, which threatens to slide off at any moment. Very brightish galaxy there, so can't be sure about that. but I do believe this one may be what we're looking for. Okay, our next study is NGC 2308. It looks like it was pretty close to NGC 2303. This galaxy's in lengths, 6 hours, 58 minutes, 37.6 seconds, with plus 45 degrees, 12 minutes, and 38 seconds. Faintish. Magnitude 13.2, 1.8 by 1.2 arc minutes, with an average surface brightness of 13.9 and a position angle of 170 degrees through a 17.5, fairly faint, fairly small, oval, 2 to 1 north to south, overpowered by 16 lynxes, visual magnitude 14.9, located 9 arc minutes southwest in the field. Well, there's a couple of brighter stars in here. I can't use the pointer because it's being trapped by the hand controller, so I can get the mouse action again. Oops. Let's move on. Okay. Neighbor is starting up their car next door. I do believe this is NGC 2314. I almost missed it because I forgot to press the record button. Anyway, on the screen, 2314 is in Camelopard, Dallas, 7 hours, 10 minutes, 32.6 seconds, plus 75 degrees, 19 minutes, 37 seconds. Visual magnitude 13.2, quite obvious there. Size 1.7 by 1.4 with an average surface brightness of 13.2 and a position angle of 25 degrees through a 17.5. Moderately bright, fairly small, slightly elongated with a bright core and a stellar nucleus. The other galaxy you want to look a little bit towards the 11 o'clock position is IC2174. It's fairly faint, fairly small, slightly elongated with weak concentration. It's about 5.8 arc minutes to the west, northwest. It would be nice to believe that that is north, and this is west and north. So that would be very interesting for future reference. Okay, we're now up to NGC 2315. It's in length, 7 hours, 2 minutes, 33 seconds, plus 50 degrees, 35 minutes, 27 seconds. I have to say, we are getting decent views for the lunacy tonight. Its visual magnitude is 13.6, 1.3 by 0.4 arc minutes. You can see it there. It's kind of edgy on, a little bit to the right of that very bright star. It's got an average surface brightness of 12.6 with a position angle of 116 degrees. Through a 17.5 done January 20, 1990. Steve says it's faint, small, edge on, west-northwest to east-southeast, with a bright core, and yet does seem to have a stellar kind of core. It's located 4 arc minutes south of magnitude 8.4 SAO 26113. Okay, since the histogram was kind of dialed in, we seem to be getting quite good views. This is NGC 2320. It's in lengths, 7 hours, 5 minutes, 42 seconds with a 50 plus 50 degrees, 34 minutes and 51 seconds. Looks very similar to the last one we saw. It may in fact be it. I have to compare it tomorrow, but there are several other faint galaxies there. Through 17.5, 2320, magnitude 11.9, size kind of smallish, 1.4 by 0.8 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 12.1 and a position angle of 140 degrees. Says it's fairly, through a 17.5, fairly faint, small, spindly, northwest to southeast with a weak concentration. I do not believe that to be the galaxy that's, that bright star has shifted. So yeah, it could be it. It's located 1.7 west-southwest of magnitude 9.0. You can see it there, SAO 26147. Brightest of 3 galaxies with NGC 2322, 5 arc minutes to the southeast, NGC 2321. Now we are going to be viewing those, and the galaxies are located here and here. So let's go ahead and take a look at once we center on those. NGC 2321 is probably this galaxy right here. It's at 7 hours, 5 minutes, 59 seconds, plus 50 degrees, 45 minutes, and 22 seconds. Once again in lengths, but it's magnitude 13.6. Quite apparent on the screen, however. Size is 1.4 by 1.1 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13.9 and a position angle of 135 degrees. Through 17.5 on that same night, very faint, fairly small, slightly elongated, low even surface brightness study. NGC 2320 lies 11 arc minutes southwest. There's another galaxy here, but that 2320 was a brighter galaxy. Okay, we're now on to NGC 2322. Here's NGC 2320. This is undoubtedly NGC 2322. And you know, I might want to just center a few of these up just so that in the future we can look to the center of the screen. We're operating at 100%, which means we're using all our pixels. We're getting really good views despite the lunacy of the evening. Let me give you the data on NGC 2322. It's in links, of course. 7 hours, 6 minutes, and 0.3 seconds, plus 50 degrees, 30 minutes, and 37 seconds. Visual brightness is 13.8 with a size of 1.1 by 0.4, which explains its Edgeon presentation. Average surface brightness, like most Edgeons, brighter, 12.8 with a position angle of 136 degrees. Through that 17.5 in scope, faint, small, elongated, northwest to southeast with an even average surface brightness. No, I would say we're getting a better view than he got through the 17.5. Forms a pair with NGC 2322, the north and west. So we pretty much confirmed that up to the upper left-hand side of the screen is the north and the west. Very nice. I'm glad I rotated the ZWO imager. Okay, we're now on to NGC 2326. Also in links, 7 hours, 8 minutes, 11 seconds, plus 50 degrees, 40 minutes, 55 seconds. Visual magnitude, right in the middle of the screen. I love it. 13.1 with a size of 1.9 by 1.8 and faintest average surface brightness thus far, 14.3. Through a 17.5 done in 1990. Faint, fairly small, irregularly round with a bright core. Not bad, folks. We are definitely getting a view as good as you get through the eyepiece of an almost 18-inch scope, and we have the moon to contend with. So I'm going to assume that ordinarily we get 20 to 24-inch performance, but keep in mind, if you look over here, we are doing 10-second exposures. So yeah, that's 20 to 24-inch territory. Okay, we're now looking for NGC 2329, but there's certainly a string of galaxies in this field. We're at 7 hours, 9 minutes, 8 seconds, plus 48 degrees, 36 minutes, and 55 seconds. What, excuse me, constellation would that put us in? Why, Lynx, of course, the cat. Visual magnitude of 12.5, 1.3 by 1.1, nearly face-on galaxy with an average surface brightness of 12.7 and a position angle of 175 degrees, which means it's pretty much vertical. Through an 18-inch scope done on January 13th of 2007, it's moderately bright, oh yeah, fairly small, elongated 3 degrees, 3 to 2 aspect ratio, north-south, 0.8 by 0.5 arc minute, small bright core. Yeah. Brightest in the core of AGC 569, including UGC 3696, MCG plus 08-13072, and plus 0813-082. Yeah, I'm seeing at least 3 galaxies plus in the field. I am impressed. The moon does not need to be an obstacle when you are looking to the north. A good thing to know. All right, typically I cover about 15 of the rounders, circumpolar studies in any given session. We got a couple more left, but we want to get back to M81. Go Bode's galaxies, don't we? We're looking for NGC 2330 here, and I think it's pretty obvious. And once again, it's in links. 7 hours, 9 minutes, 28.4 seconds with plus 50 degrees, 9 minutes, and 8 seconds in right ascension. Whoa, okay, so it's the one in the middle of the field because its visual magnitude is 14.7. 0.4 by 0.3 arc minutes, but its average surface brightness is 12.2. Huh, so it could be the brighter one. Through a 24-inch telescope at 375, we're operating at 250. We're using a 150 millimeter fast newt, El Quattro, and we are enhancing everything with an 80% quantum efficiency, self-cooled unit, Zero Pro. I'll give you the data on that in a second. It's up on the screen somewhere, but it's rolled up. We're seeing NGC 2330. There's once I said, a 375, fairly faint, small, nearly round, 20 arc seconds in diameter. That is the fainter one then. Even surface brightness is located 2 degrees south-southwest of 2332. Okay. That doesn't seem right. Because it looks like south-southwest is where actually 2332 is based on previous orientations. Okay, so a magnitude 15.1 star is 1 arc minute south of the center. Well, I'm seeing some brightish stars in the region. And a mag 15.7 is barely off the northeast end. So look for a 16th. I can see that. All right. Barely off the northeast end, 0.8 degree arc minutes northwest of center. Although our orientation seems to have changed, hasn't it? Maybe it's because the scope is looking in a different direction now. Okay, so that brighter galaxy was indeed NGC 2332 because it's ponied up closer to the center of the screen. 7 hours, 9 minutes, 34.2 seconds. Right ascension with a plus 50 degrees, 10 minutes, and 56 seconds. Puts it once again in lengths. Visual magnitude 12.8, size 1.5 by 1 arc minute. Surface brightness of 13.2 with a position angle of 60 degrees. Through a 24-inch telescope done on February 15th of 2018 at 375, fairly bright, moderately large oval, 4:3 aspect ratio, southwest to northeast, 1.2 to 0.9 arc minutes visible, sharply concentrated, with a bright core and very small, brighter nucleus. So I'm going to push the magnification up again. A magnitude 15.1 star is 1 arc minute. Yeah, I can kind of make that out. South of center, and a magnitude 15.7 star is barely off the northeast edge. So we should look for that. There does look to be a brighter region. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some zoomography here. If we go up to 200%, we're basically operating at 10 times 500x. And Steve's notes were done at 375. So we can back off just a little bit. We're getting both galaxies quite well. All right, so we're going to go back to 100% zoom. I like the way things look. We are operating at 250x roughly. We have just completed 99 of the first 100 so far of the Rounder series, circumpolar galaxies, clusters, nebulae, etc., visible from 45 degrees north and further north. Let's take a look at NGC 2334 to get a preview of our next study before we go ahead and have one more look at both galaxies. So here's our preview of the next study. This is study number 100. You can see it right in the middle of the screen. 3-star alignment went well tonight. I did an offset for Polaris slightly to the west and the north. NGC 2334 is in lengths at 7 hours, 11 minutes, 33.6 seconds. 50 degrees, 14 minutes, and 53 seconds. Northern declination. It's a magnitude 13.6, quite present on the screen. 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 12.9, which usually requires you bump the magnification up at the eyepiece to be able to pick it it out, and a position angle of 70 degrees through a 24-inch telescope on February 15 of 2018 at 375x, moderately bright, moderately large, round, strong concentration, of course, with a high surface brightness core that increases to a very small, brighter nucleus. Can't quite distinguish that. It's located 5.8 degrees northeast of NGC 2340, which would be our future study in this series in a fairly rich group of galaxies. Yes, indeed, there are probably 5 or 6 galaxies easily picked out in that region of this screen. Let's have a look at Bode's, and then that will be our Carpe Noctem view for the evening. Okay, here is our 10-second multi-stacked view of Messier 81. Much better than earlier in the evening. We are seeing the nebulosity with quite a bit of an extension. I think at this magnification, well, what is this screen thing that popped over here? Go away. What are you doing? All right. You may not have seen it, but I did. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a zoom. Look at the spiral extensions going off here. I would say it was not a wasted time this evening to have come out and done, despite the moon, this imaging series. We were able to do 10-second exposures. We're seeing extended spiral arms on Messier 81. And we should be able to get some spectacular views of texture in Messier 82, back out, and then get a nice combined view of 2 of our favorite galaxies visible in northern skies. We are now at 28 minutes and 20 seconds into this video, and I do need to wrap up. Here we go with a very, very fine view for afternoon, evening of Messier 82. Spectacular edge-on galaxy. Let's go ahead and do a bit of a zoomography on it. Doesn't seem to be devolving at all. We're seeing a bit of color. I think I can get it right centered on the screen, and we can continue to push the zoom. Wow, there are some vast regions of stellar formation going on in Messier 82. Right, look at this burst regions here. This is a galaxy that is being probably gravitationally disturbed by the presence of a more massive neighbor, Messier 81, which is setting all alight. Let's back out again. And what I'm going to do is see if I can get, yes, we've got both of them in the screen. We will bump the magnification a little bit. Now that is a very fine view of Bode's galaxies. And with that view of Messier 81 on the left and 82 on the right, we are going to Carpe Noctem out. I really enjoyed getting out this evening.